Hello, my unicorn sisters. This is Lois, your lunch lady, coming to you from my house. And today I'm going to show you how to make a 2-ply pleated mask. I don't know if any of you made one at home, but this is the mask, and it has 3 pleats, and it's a tie mask. It doesn't use elastic, and it has a metal nose bendy part there. So that's an example of the mask that we're going to make. This is a large, this is a small one, this is a large, this is your mom's size, and this is your brother or sister size if they're younger. So first thing is, I made a list of all the things you need, the supply list. The supplies are here, and you're going to start off with a piece of cardboard, or a piece of cardstock, or just something hard to make your pattern. You are going to need a ruler, a pencil, paper, scissors, and dark fabric and light fabric, and ties. Oh, we're going to use this for the ties, this part of the mask. These are ties. And we are going to use floral wire for the nose part. Okay, and then we're going to wrap it in tape. You're going to need tape, and you're going to need pins, and you're going to need material scissors. Okay? So, the prep work before you use any of this stuff is that you have to wash your fabric. When you use 100% cotton fabric, it has a very loose weave. When you wash it, the weave tightens up and it shrinks. So you have to pre-wash your fabric, so when you work with it, it's already shrunk down in size. So your size is a correct size, and if you didn't pre-wash it, you'd make it and then it would shrink up when first time you wash it. So pre-wash your fabric, and the second thing is you make your pattern. So let's move all this stuff away, and here is your pattern. That I've already made my pattern with my pencil and with my ruler, and I've measured out 8.5 wide by 7 tall. Okay, and that's going to be in your instructions that are on the website. Okay, so this I've made, and then once I've made a rectangle that is 7 by 8.5, I then marked off my pleats. I started at 2 inches down, marked my first line, and then drew it. Marked my second line at 1.5 inches. This is the second line, and then your third line is also at 1.5 inches. And these are your pleat markers.
So basically the same thing for every line.
No, this one's 2 inches.
Okay. So
this is 1.5 inches, and this is 1.5 inches.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cut this out with my paper scissors, not your material scissors, because that dulls your material scissors. So we're just going to put that here.
Just giving you guys a heads up.
And that here. And I'm going to cut out these little corners. And you cut these corners out so when you put your pattern down on your fabric, you can line it up. So that's what your pattern should look like. So it's a rectangle. It's a rectangle with the little corners taken out. Okay, and I've marked the center, and this is the opening on the top of your pattern, and these are the pleats. So these are markings for pleats. Okay, so then you take your fabric and you lay your pattern down on your fabric. And you take tailor's chalk and you trace it. Or that was...
You need a stronger one.
You need a different color one? Okay, good advice. So I have tailor's chalk.
So just so you guys can see your line, you want to use a stronger chalk to...
A lighter chalk.
A lighter chalk. Yes.
There we go.
So you can see.
So that is my material. And I'm going to cut that up. So you where's your material scissors? There's your material scissors. And you cut that out. So when you cut that out, you get 2 pieces of fabric, which is the exact same size. One's light, one's dark. And you sew them together. So you come over to this machine here. This is a serger, or you can do a straight stitch. And you put the wrong sides together, the pretty sides. And you take your thread and you pull it out here so you can see it. Put your foot down, pull your thread out. We'll have a few there and see what happens if you don't do those few things.
Repeat what you said, how much you sew.
Quarter of an inch. Quarter of an inch.
Okay.
Bring up the arm.
Okay, back to our face mask.
You take the tail, you put it to the side. You put the foot down. You go 1, 2, 3 stitches. And then you sew a quarter of an inch. Pull out the thread, cut off. So now those 2 pieces of material are attached together. So this is the pretty side, and this is the wrong side, and it has the seam. So then you go over to your board, your ironing board here. And my instructions say, following my instructions.
Bruh.
Your instructions say iron the seam flat. So this is called a seam. This is a seam. And you iron it flat. Then you take this is the side that's going against your mouth. And the pretty side is going to be outside when we're done. Like that. So this is the side, this plain side is going next to your mouth, and you want to finish this edge. So you're going to roll it over once, iron it, and then roll it over again and iron. And that's called a rolled hem. And you're going to sew it down like I did here with the machine. Okay? So then you go to the next side, and this side, the pretty pattern side, we are going to put a piece of wire in there. So, and how you do that is you go over here, back to this board, and you get your wire. You measure 3.5 inches. And you get wire cutters. You cut your wire cutters. There we go. So we have 3.5 inches. And we take our masking tape. And we pick that wire up. And then we fold it over. And we leave some stickiness. You leave it so it can still stick. So you can use it as a mustache.
What in the baby world was that?
You go over to your mask and you put the wire on the top of that edge in the middle. So you kind of guesstimate. You could actually you could bring it over here and do it exactly. So this is 9.5 inches wide. So half of 9.5 inches, you got to do math. I'm not very good at math, so I'm just going to guesstimate. So half of 10 is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to sit somewhere in there. No, it's going to sit. Let's scooch that over. Somewhere there. So it's about there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we fold it once to hide it. And then we fold it again to hide it. And you go over to your ironing board. And you don't burn yourself, but you iron that down. Out. You put down your foot. You raise. You hold your foot out. 1, 2, 3. And then you sew as close to the edge of your rolled hem as possible. Now you be very careful to feel where that wire is and make sure that you don't sew over that piece of wire because that'll break your needle. And it'll go crush, boom. It'll make a sound and it'll scare you. You'll go, oh, what the heck. There you go. And now you pull this off and you look for your little scissors, you clip it off. So there. So that's your mask with a piece of wire in it, and your both hems are finished. So those both hems are finished. So it's finished on this side and finished on this side. Like that. Like so. All right. Now we take our paper pattern, back to our paper pattern. And remember how I said I marked the pleats? So what you do is, see this dotted line here? This piece of fabric, we folded and we sewed down. And so we're going to lay our piece of paper on our fabric, and we're going to line that edge up with the edge of our fabric. And then we're going to take a pencil and we're going to mark our pleats. Okay? And that's why I said, so these pleats should be 1.5 inches. That's why the top one's 2 inches, because this is 1/2 inch. So this is 1/2 inch, this is 1/2 inch, and this is 1/2 inch. I can actually show you with my, so if we move our ruler to, this is 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. So then you scooch your pattern over, your paper pattern over, and you mark your pleats on this side, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. And because we have dark fabric on this side, as Olivia has mentioned, you need to change over to your white chalk so you can see your markings. So you mark your fabric. So that's what it's going to have, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches from the top down, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. Then you take your iron, you pinch those 2 marks, and you fold your fabric and you iron it so there's, looks like a little tent. And you keep doing that to the second pleat. Keep your instructions close. And third pleat. Then you turn your fabric around. Pinch it, take your marks and pinch it, fold it down, iron it. Iron it. So you've ironed it 6 times. Ironed it. Okay.
The same old song and the same old dance.
Same old dance, same old song. All right. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we're going to go over and we're going to measure off our ties. Roll a little stuff over. And we're going to use this green ribbon. put your pin somewhere so you don't lose it. And we're going to measure 18 inches 4 times. So measure with me together. 118, 218, 318, 418. Woohoo, 418. So do the math, add that up. That'll be your homework for today, okay? And then you cut this on an angle so it doesn't fray. And you've got that much left over. And you just put that in the garbage. All right, so then those 4 times 18, you then fold that in half, your ribbon in half. And again, you can't cut on the slant. Cut that on the slant. And then, so you take this one, and I like to roll it around and then make a knot like that. So again, you fold it in half. I like to roll it around.
Your fingers?
Roll it around your fingers. And so then this time, when you have your ribbon, you want to cut that just square. You want to cut that just square. So now what you have is 4 ties. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 with a knot in. And so this is going to go on one side of your mask, and this is going to go on the other side of your mask. So you have 4 lengths of 18. So if we measure this out, this is going to be 18, this is going to be 18, this is going to be 18, and this is going to be 18. Then you come over to your mask that's on your ironing board, and you grab your pins. You spill your pins all over the ground, and then you have a fancy magnet.
Oh my gosh.
Pick all those
Pins up. I don't think that will happen, but just so you know.
If you guys, whoever is editing this can cut this out, but if you don't want to see this video and if you find it too boring, then just
things
go check.
happen.
Then just go check the website and don't even bother. Like, just go do on YouTube how
Okay,
to.
back to me here. This is my video, sister.
I'm your daughter.
Okay, so now we take the 2 strips, and we're going to, this is the pretty side. You turn the mask over to the pretty side, and you take 1 ribbon, and you pin it in the corner. And you take the other ribbon that you've cut off square. So see how you've got a square end and an angled end. You want to take the square end and you want to put it in the corner. Okay? Then you fold it up. Keep all the ribbon inside, and you fold it like a sandwich. So you have material, ribbon, and material. So it's a material sandwich with ribbon as the filling. Then you take your corners and you take your pin and you pin all 3 pieces of the sandwich together. So you do the pretty part, the ribbon, and the part that goes next to your face. Then this is the pleating part. What we're going to do, this is the way we're going to do our pleats. We're going to take our pleats. We're going to take, this is the side that goes next to your face, and it's the wrong side. So the pretty side is facing down, okay? Let's do the pretty side first. So the pretty side's facing down, and we made these little tents with these pleats. So you're going to pick the pleat up, fold it to the top, and pin it. Fold it to the top again, and pin it. And fold it to the top again and pin it. So like an accordion, as if you're doing the old-fashioned accordion. So that's one side. Then you're going to take your ribbon on the pretty side and pin it. Okay? So,
Is it important which side is slanted and which side is square when you do that pinning there of the ribbon?
yes, because the slanted side is going to be not sewn in the seam. The square side is going to be sewn in. We're going to sew that. And this has to be loose. Good question. Good question. All right. So we're going to go to the other side, face down, and we're going to pin again. So you're going to So we've set this other piece of ribbon aside, and it's like, okay, which end is which? So you know that this side is not going to be pinned. You know that the square side is going to match the pretty side. Now I'm pinning my pins facing out, and that's important because when I fold it over, I want to see those pins. So I take all that ribbon and I make, again, this now, my mask has become a hot dog. It's not a sandwich anymore, it's a hot dog. And I didn't pin that. So again, it's the square piece of ribbon. And I pin it in there. Make sure all my filling for my mask is in. And I make a hot dog. There we go. So, because I don't want my hot dog guts to fall out, I take my pin and I pin through the yellow layer, the green layer, and the red layer. And then, because I don't want pins on both sides, I take my top pin that's pinning down my top pleat and pin it through, again, my yellow layer and my red layer. And then I do that to the second pleat, pin it through, and pull out the pins that are on the other side. They're holding those pleats. And then see that one sticking up and it's holding the ribbon. You take that pin and again you pin down your yellow material, your green ribbon, and your red mask. And that's one side. And then you do the exact same thing on the other side. So you take your pin and you start and you flatten it out and you pin your yellow, your green, and your red all together. And then you take the bottom pin and you push it through and you pull out the pin that's holding your back pleat. Push it through, pull out the second pleat pin on the back. And then you pull out those, and then the pin that is holding, go to the machine. Okay? So then I roll over to my machine.
Are we almost done with the mask making?
Yeah, we're almost done. Is this too boring for you?
No, it's just that whoever's following this probably thinks it's so boring.
Okay, thanks. All right, so now we straight stitch. And we try not to stitch over our pin. You pull out all your pins. That's one side. And then I'm going to flip this over because I want to have the pleats going that way. So I'm going to back stitch it. All right, Miss Boring, this is how then the magic happens. So then you turn it inside out, you push the corners out.
Oh.
And there it is. Come over to the cutting board here. And we're going to take the pleats and we're going to fold them and iron them. And then you're going to poke the corners out a little bit more. So it's a little bit more square. Give it a tug. Iron it. And then here, because we knotted the ribbons, you can see you've got 1 ribbon, 2 ribbon, 3 ribbon 4, and you've got a nose part, and you take your ribbons and you tie it around your neck. And then to finish it, what you're going to do is you're going to, at the edge of your, you want to close it, so at the edge of your wire bits, you're going to top stitch it. So if you take a pin and mark where your wire ends, and then you hold your tail back, 1, 2, 3. So and this didn't match, so I'm just going to tuck that in a little bit. Start where the wire is. And voila! The boring mask lady has made a beautiful mask with green ribbon. There you go. There it is. All right, so hopefully you can follow the instructions a few times, even though it's long and boring. You can go back to it or each step. And happy mask making, guys. Bye.